The commission killer commander fired me the day before I was due a huge commission. They didn't know the client had a key person clause. When the client found out I was gone, they canceled the $20 million deal and called me too. I knew something was off the moment he called me champ. Champ, he said, with that syrupy voice that always came before a knife. You've really outdone yourself this quarter. I stood there in his glass-walled office, coffee still hot in my hand, pulse somewhere between marathon and heart attack. Outside, the sales floor buzzed like normal. Jeff from Midwest screaming about Q3 pipeline, Jamie flirting with a printer jam. But in here, it was too quiet, too smooth. He never complimented unless he was about to bulldoze something. For the last 8 months, I'd lived, breathed, and bled for a single account, Sabletech Industries. Cold lead off a mailing list. I called them during a snowstorm on a Tuesday in January when I had the flu and my kid had strep. Spent weekends refining their proposal. Answered emails at midnight. They didn't even like us at first, but I cracked them. Cracked him, Rick Sable, kind of old school CEO who calls from landlines and still uses, regards you neuronically. And now we were there, $20 million on the table. Contract drafted, legal greenlit, just needed onboarding by Friday. My commission was 7%. I'd done the math at least 50 times like I didn't believe it. $1,400,000. Before taxes, sure. But still, freedom money. Pay off the mortgage and finally breathe money. And here came him, Marshall Keene, VP of Sales, aka the Commission Killer Commander. Tall, tanned teeth like a stock photo and the soul of a catfish in a Versace tie. He had this pattern: let top reps close massive accounts, then cut them off right before the payout under some HR-flavored excuse. Restructuring, reallocation, leadership synergy. Last year, he did it to Miguel, dropped him the day before his Tesla account bonus hit. 2 months later, Miguel was bartending in Phoenix. The company blamed internal inefficiencies. I told myself it wouldn't be me. I kept my head down, my numbers high, my mouth shut. Still, I noticed the flags. My Salesforce access got buggy 2 weeks ago. Maintenance, IT said. The deck I sent Rick went mysteriously missing from our shared folder twice. Then last Friday, I caught Marshall in the kitchen talking to HR laughing. They got quiet when I walked in. Told me they were planning the holiday party. It was damn July. I knew. Somewhere in my exhausted bones, I knew. But I also needed to believe it wouldn't happen. Not this time. Not after all I gave, so I doubled down. Reconfirmed with Sabletech, sent them updated ROI projections, held Rick's hand through procurement, even baked banana bread for the team during our final call. Rick's assistant said I was the only vendor who treats us like humans. He went quiet. Too quiet. No. Let's prep for post-close strategy. No congrats on the finish line. Just that stupid smile he wore when he was polishing the blade. This morning, I came in early. I wore the navy suit I save for closings and funerals. My inbox had one unread message. Subject, quick sync 9:00 a.m. Marshall's office body. Just a quick chat. No stress. Bring nothing. Smiley face. No attachments. No agenda. That's when I knew, and I still showed up because that's what women like me do. We show up even when we know they're lighting the pyre. I walked past the receptionist who gave me that pity smile you learn to recognize after 20 years in corporate, walked past the break room where someone had already scrawled Rachel's $20 meters kill shot on the whiteboard. I knocked once and entered without waiting. Marshall stood up. HR was there, and he said it again. Champ. That's when my stomach hit the floor and stayed there. He gestured toward the chair across from his desk like we were about to sip lattes and brainstorm Q4 strategy. I sat. My hands didn't shake. Not yet. HR. Dana from Compliance, the same woman who once called me a badass closer over nachos, sat to the side, lips tight, a manila folder on her lap like a loaded weapon. Marshall steepled his fingers. Smile still plastic. So first off, I want to say this has nothing to do with your performance. There it was. My lungs forgot how to inflate. Dana slid the folder across the table like she was offering me a menu at a funeral. Your role is being eliminated, she said. Calm, scripted, like they rehearsed, effective immediately. This is part of a larger departmental realignment. I stared at them waiting for the rest, for the part where they admitted it was temporary, that I'd be shifted into a new role. Hell, even that I'd be offered severance with some dignity. But it was just silence. Waiting for me to speak. Marshall leaned in. This wasn't an easy decision. You've made real contributions truly. But with our evolving priorities, we're optimizing for operational fluidity. I wanted to laugh. Operational fluidity? He was firing me with a damn word salad. The folder in front of me had my name on it in 12 Arial. Inside, an NDA, a waiver, and 1 paragraph of severance, 2 weeks of pay. No bonus. No commission. Not a goddamn cent of it. The Sabletech deal hadn't closed yet. Onboarding was scheduled for tomorrow. Technically, the wire hadn't hit, so legally, they owed me nothing. Ethically, that's another story. You're welcome to collect your things, Dana offered gently. Your laptop and phone are being remotely decommissioned. IT has already revoked your access to company systems effective 30 minutes ago. Of course, they had. Am I being escorted out? I asked, voice razor thin. Dana blinked. Only if you prefer. I didn't answer. I stood, took the folder, left the pen. Marshall stood too, hand extended like we just wrapped up a golf match. I looked at it, then at him. You knew I was closing that deal, I said. He tilted his head. We make these decisions weeks in advance, Rachel. This is just unfortunate timing. Right. The Tooth Fairy pays out in Bitcoin. I walked out without another word. Past the floor where my face still hung on the top performer board. Past the bullpen where no one looked up. Even Jamie pretended to be buried in Slack. At my desk, they'd already boxed my things. Someone had peeled off my name tag. I opened the box. Laptop gone. Phone gone. Just a few stale protein bars, a broken click pen, and one blue folder I kept for personal notes. I took that, left the rest. As I walked toward the elevator, I passed the break room again. The whiteboard message was still there. Rachel's $20 meters kill shot. Someone had added a crude little tombstone next to it. My name crossed out. The elevator doors opened. I stepped in. The doors closed on everything. Marshall's smirk, Dana's folder, the whole damn farce of company. My phone buzzed in my pocket, my personal phone. I didn't look. Not yet. I wanted to feel the fall all the way down. The silence was immediate and deafening. No Slack pings, no inbox refresh, no ping from Rick, no update from legal. Not even a LinkedIn message from Jamie, who once drunk cried in a Chili's parking lot and called me her career mom. It was like I'd never existed. By the time I got home, my badge was deactivated, my work number rerouted, and my access to Salesforce, Google Drive, Zoom had all evaporated into a polite little 403 error. Even the company's Spotify account logged me out mid-ride home right in the middle of Stronger by Can I? I laughed at that bitterly, like the universe was in on the joke. I sat in my car for 50 minutes before walking inside. My kid was at school. My husband, ex-husband, technically, was 2 states away, remarried to a woman who did Reiki and forest womb chanting. I had the place to myself. Just me, the leftover coffee in the Yeti tumbler, and a brain trying to stitch together what the hell had just happened. I opened my personal laptop, reflexively clicked Gmail. Nothing from Rick, nothing from anyone, a few spammy newsletters, a shipping update from Sephora. No one had reached out. Not one got in person. I texted Jamie. Me? You okay? Nothing. Me? Did you know? Still nothing. I tried LinkedIn. Her status was green. Active. She just wasn't talking. It hit like cold water. They've been warned. HR doesn't fire like that without a leak-proof perimeter. My realignment had been staged like a Broadway matinee, and I was the only one without a script. The others had moved on without a blink. The same people who signed my birthday cards, who cheered when I hit quota. Cowards, every one of them. I pulled the blue folder from my bag. It was the only thing they didn't confiscate, mainly because it looked like nothing. But inside were notes, real notes, my handwritten account details from the Sabletech meetings, Rick's personal preferences, procurement timelines, even a napkin sketch of their onboarding flow we doodled during a steak dinner in Dallas. Buried in the stack was my employment agreement, the original copy from 4 years ago before they digitized everything. I flipped through it with autopilot fingers. Didn't even know what I was looking for. Proof I wasn't crazy. Ammunition for a lawsuit I couldn't afford. Then I saw it. Page 17. Section 8.3. A highlighter mark. One I barely remembered making. In the event that designated key personnel are removed from the project without prior client approval, the client reserves the right to void the agreement in full without penalty. I blinked. Read it again. It was in plain English, not the usual legalese that makes your eyes glaze over. Key personnel. That was me. It had been a weird clause even back then. Rick had insisted. I don't do bait and switches, he said. If I'm buying from you, I want you there. At the time, I thought it was flattering. Now it was a ticking time bomb, and Marshall had just pulled the pin. My brain scrambled to timeline the damage. Did the contract get signed? Did the money clear? Is legal fast enough to fudge around that clause? Or was Rick already dialing someone? I checked my inbox again. Still nothing. But somewhere in the quiet of my living room, past the dog-eared contract, past the betrayal, I felt something shift. Not grief, not panic. A flicker. Sharp, bright, clean, like a scalpel. They had just bet $20 million that I wouldn't matter, and I had just found the clause that said otherwise. Subject line, you okay? That was it. Oh, greeting? No signature. Just a 6-character subject line from Rick Sable's Director of Ops, Dan Reese, straight to my personal Gmail. The same Gmail I hadn't used for work correspondence since 2018. The one buried in the footer of my personal site, I barely maintained. The timestamp reads 6:12 a.m. I stared at it for a long moment, my coffee gone cold in my hand, the room still pitch black except for the harsh glow of my screen. He knew. Somehow he knew. I clicked it open. We were expecting you on the onboarding call this morning. Rick's asking where you are. Please advise. That was all. No punctuation panic. No legal CCs. Just concern wrapped in corporate. Rick was asking where I was because I was supposed to be there because the deal was still active because Marshall hadn't told them. I read it again slower this time. Rick's asking where you are. It took everything not to scream into a throw pillow. Tapped out a reply with fingers stiff from tension. Hi, Dan. Apologies for the delay. I've recently parted ways with my former employer and will not be present for today's onboarding. I'm not at liberty to disclose details, but please feel free to direct any relevant inquiries to their legal team. Rachel. I stared at it. Was that too cold? Too vague? Should I have added a thank you? Darn it. I hit send. The reply came 5 minutes later. No delay. Oh, deliberation. Just one sentence that violates the clause. We're canceling. I sat back, hands still hovering over the mouse. Everything stilled. Outside, a garbage truck slammed a dumpster like it was clapping for me. Somewhere down the hall, a neighbor's dog started barking. The of my refrigerator was suddenly deafening. But inside, silence. White hot, sharp as ice. He knew. Dan freaking knew. The clause wasn't some forgotten legal footnote. It was an active, forced term. And Marshall had walked right over it, swinging his axe like a goddamn cartoon villain. And now $20 million was about to evaporate. Because of me, because of them, my breath came out shaky. I looked down and realized my left hand was trembling against the table. Not from fear, not from nerves, from restraint. Every molecule in me wanted to scream, to call Marshall and blast that one-sentence email through his teeth, but I didn't. I just sat there, jaw clenched, riding the quake of what was about to come. They thought I'd go quietly. They thought I'd fade like Miguel, a casualty of realignment, one less line item before bonus season. They didn't count on Dan. They didn't count on that clause, and they sure as hell didn't count on me sitting here, staring at the first crack in their perfect little wall. I didn't reply, didn't forward the email, didn't do a thing, just sat in the dark. My silence watching the spark catch fire. The first sign came at 9:17 a.m. A LinkedIn notification. Marshall viewed my profile. 2 minutes later, another, Dana from HR, then Gavin from legal, then some guy in finance I'd never met who once mocked me for putting oat milk in my coffee. Panic was setting in. By noon, I got the email. A desperate, chirpy little thing from Dana. Subject, let's reconnect smiling face with smiling eyes. Hi, Rachel. We wanted to reach out regarding a potential transitional opportunity to continue supporting the Sable Tech account during this critical phase. It would be a short-term consulting role with a competitive hourly rate. Let's hop on a call to discuss ASAP. Warmly, Dana. They had no idea that critical phase was already ash and smoke. I didn't reply. Just stared at her emoji bait subject line and sipped my coffee. A friend from accounting, bless her nicotine-stained loyalty, texted me under the radar. All hands meeting happening now. CFO's having a coronary. They baked SableTech into the Q3 guidance call. Slides are already with investors. Marshall's pretending nothing happened. Legal scrambling. She added a gif of a dumpster fire rolling down a hill. I almost choked laughing. That's when the messages started coming in sideways. Quiet ones, indirect. A recruiter from a firm I'd never worked with. Heard you might be in transition. Want to grab coffee? A VP from a partner vendor. Rachel, just checking in. Anything you need?